Welcome to Make Your Money Matter. I'm your host, Brad Barrett. I'm also a managing director and partner here at One Capital Management. And today on the show, I want to talk to you about 6 behavioral biases that are likely affecting your investments. But before we do that, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it. Number 1 is the complexity bias. This is the bias that we tell ourselves when we assume that complex solutions are better than simple ones. We have a saying here at One Capital Management when we are designing a wealth forecast for a client that it should be simple and elegant. Now, note that we actually use the word simple. So I want to be careful for all of us out there to make sure that we don't feel like we have to have some complex strategy to solve some of our goals and objectives as it relates to investing and ultimately our money. Number 2 is what we call the present bias. This is the bias when we tend to favor small payoffs right now over more impactful payoffs in the future. Friends, I largely see this in the world of planning around debt. We want to be careful that we're not spending tomorrow's dollars on today's consumption. So be careful of that bias that we tend to in our brain tell ourselves. So be careful of that one. The third one is the sunk cost fallacy. This is the fallacy that you continue to do a task or anything in life because you started it when you actually should maybe consider letting it go. So the sunk cost fallacy comes up around that. And look, if you're watching or listening right now, and let's say you're 40 or 45 years old or 50, or really whatever age you are, the investments that you did when you were maybe 18, 20, 25 may not be the right investments for you in your current season of life. Find something that makes more sense. You want to be careful of this bias, the sunk cost bias, and ultimately that trap that can play on you. The fourth one is the planning fallacy. Now, anyone who knows me or watches or follows and subscribes to the Make Your Money Matter show knows I'm a big believer in planning and ultimately the planning fallacy. This is the bias that I've seen a lot of clients over many, many years now get trapped into, is underestimating how long something actually may take. Now, this can be true of life in general as we look at just future planning or coaching or anything like that you might be doing, but it definitely pertains to our money. We tend to think sometimes in this historic analogy, we're like, okay, I'll start investing. Great. I started listening to this guy or I go to this advisor, but we tend to veer off course. And the reality is we need to make sure that planning and discipline, the 2 Ds I talk about often here on the show when it comes to investing, you hold true to your plan and continue doing the investing and continually update it with your advisor and go through the different seasons of life, the different changes, but making sure that you know the course, that it's not necessarily a tomorrow thing. It's more of a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year thing. The fifth one I'll bring up is the mere urgency effect. Okay, this is a bias and it's pretty interesting. Basically, you think about it, you prefer doing shiny new things, right? With little long-term payoffs over maybe some of the important things. Now, I relate this to investments all the time. We tend to, and you think about it, and you're candid with yourself. Let's say you're talking with a friend at the water cooler, a colleague maybe, or a neighbor or a family member. You start bringing up maybe some investments, individual stocks or companies or ideas. And again, none of that's bad conceptually, but be careful that you're not losing sight for longer term objectives with maybe diversified portfolios and proper planning over this new shiny hot topic that's out there, whether that's a specific company or an idea or a sector. Be careful, make sure you don't follow the shiny things and make sure you look at the whole picture. And the sixth and final one I want to bring up is what's called the hedonic adaptation. Sounds kind of crazy, right? But this is where you're always thinking that you'll be happy when something happens. The hedonic adaptation happens all the time in our life with different things. And I can't tell you, friends, how many times, this is probably one of the biggest money lies that I see. Everyone that I come across in nearly 2 decades now gets trapped into this. And the bias is that we think, oh, if I save this certain number, then I'll be happy. It's a crazy thing to attach to if you really think about it, your worth and identity to money. And I want to share that because I think you have to understand that falling in love with the process of building your wealth is what will get you through the race. Falling in love with the idea of the goal might not be the exact way you want to go. You might veer off course because that goal might become something you're not into anymore. And you realize how important it is, especially as it relates to your money, but you have other things going on. So falling in love with the process and the discipline is what matter. Hey, I hope you enjoyed those 6 biases to make sure you talk to yourself about and make sure you be careful in your mind what it's telling you as it relates to your investing and your money. And if you did like this video, make sure to subscribe to the show and always remember, make your money matter.